This episode contains some upsetting themes, including detailed stories of bereavement and baby loss from the very beginning.
Yeah, they handed me to him and he opened his eyes and it was absolutely incredible. And for that moment, I forgot that he wasn't going to survive. It's the most painful thing I've ever done in my life. Like, the pain I've never felt. It was like someone was like taking my heart out. It changes you in like such a absolutely in a way I can't even explain. One thing I remember is coming home and looking out the window and watching the kids go to school, and I just thought, for everybody else, it's just a normal day. Like, the pain is just, it's unbearable. It's something I think you just got to live with for the rest of your life.
We're here today to talk about maternity bereavement and about baby loss. It's something that affects many, many families and affects everybody in its own individual way, but is really rarely spoken about. And we're going to have an open discussion with Andrea, and she's going to talk to us about her lived experience and her experience of the maternity bereavement service. I'm Trudy, and this is Andrea here,
Hello.
who's going to talk us through her bereavement journey.
I fell pregnant with kitten Minnie. I remember walking out being like, just staring forward, being like, oh my God, I'm pregnant with twins. I remember going home and I just couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. But I went through like waves of like this is amazing. Because I just think like twins are so special, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then moments of thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And I remember telling my dad, he just looked at me and he laughed. He was like, don't be so stupid. I was like, no, it's twins. I've already got a little girl called Honey. So I remember telling them that it was twins. And we did a little photo shoot, actually. It's really cool. I've still got it. So we've got two girls, Scarlett and Honey, and we asked them both what you wanted the twins to be. And they held up like a piece of paper. So Scarlett's a massive football fan. So she was like, I want them to be football players. And then Honey's like, loves princesses. So she was like, I want them to be princesses. So that was really cute.
Oh, it's a really exciting time.
Yeah. And we used that to announce the pregnancy. So that was really nice. And then we had our 20-week scan, and was in the room, and they said that the one twin was okay, but the other twins, some measurements weren't quite right. But I just thought nothing of it because I had exactly the same with Honey.
Oh, right.
So my partner's like, it'd be fine. So went home, and then we had to go in like a week later, and it just kind of progressed from there, really. They said that at the time we didn't know what they were. We never wanted to find out. So the one twin two, some of his measurements weren't right. Had so many scans, and then they said that they weren't 100% sure what it was. So they asked me if they could take fluid from both twin and send it off. You don't really realise how hard it's going to be until someone asks you to do that. Because then they were like, we had to sign these papers because you might find out things about yourself that you might not want to know.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I didn't even think of that. I had to lie in the room, and then they had to sign a paper, and then they had to like take fluid out of each twin, and then they sent it off, and then we just had to go home and wait for the results.
What was that waiting like?
Absolutely horrendous. The drive back from the hospital was just awful. It was such a surreal feeling, just waiting around to kind of know.
Uncertainty, they're not.
Yeah. And it was almost like, I don't know, it was just such a surreal experience. And I didn't want anyone to know either. I was like constantly out and about, and they'd be asking, and in my back of my mind, I knew there was something going on.
And had you told many friends or family?
Yeah, I told my mum and dad and my sister. And maybe like, not at this point, no, I didn't tell anybody.
It's a lot to carry on. You know, it was a small unit.
And then they're kicking and moving.
Yeah.
So I was just like, one part of me was like, well, they're moving and they're kicking, so surely they're absolutely fine. So then a week went by, and then we went back to the hospital. They were still waiting for one result. They didn't take enough fluid, so they had to wait for it to grow. So eventually we got the result, and the result was, I think it was about 28 weeks we got this result, that Kit had this condition where he wouldn't survive with it. And they couldn't tell us how long. They didn't know if it would be weeks. They didn't know if it'd be immediately. They just said his condition, when he's born, he wouldn't be able to breathe because his chest wasn't big enough. So then at this point, they sat us in a room and they gave us some options. One of the options was to terminate Kit and keep Minnie. Oh, at this point, we knew they were girl and boy as well.
Right. I was going to say, how did that impact just...
I think for my husband, he all he ever wanted was a son, like any bloke. And the fact that it was a boy. And then I remember, like, we had to tell Scarlett, and she was desperate for a brother. That was really hard. Which, I feel bad saying that. It shouldn't really matter what they are, but it did make it.
Well, it all has loads of different layers. It's dreams and expectations, isn't it?
Yeah. So we went to the hospital. It was like near 30 weeks this was. And they said, look, we could terminate Kit, but keep Minnie. But then there's a high chance of you losing both. Or you just keep going. And me and my husband, I think my husband had a real fear of Kit being born and then him, like, trying to breathe, like that, really him being distressed. It was real hard going home because I think we both at this point thought different things.
Well, it's such conversations you would never, ever expect to have or even.
And I remember one of my friends was like, well, if you, like, surely they'll just take Kit out and you'll keep Minnie. And I'm like, no, I've got to give birth to them both. And that's what, like, I didn't want to, the thought of, like, going in and stopping Kit's heart. And then they told me the process of it as well.
Yeah.
So they have to, like, inject and then find Kit's heart, and then you have to go away and come back and see if the heart stopped. And to me, I know everyone's got their own choice, but to me that just felt like I was killing him. And the fact that at this point as well, he was like kicking and moving, and I used to lie in bed and he was presenting as well, so he moved a lot. So, and it almost made me feel a bit like I was going mad, because I was just like, how can he be so poorly when he's kicking and moving? So at this point we decided just to keep going. And I think a part of me just thought once he's born, he'd be all right.
And I think that's really common. You've always, as a parent, you always hold hope, whatever, even when you know that things aren't going to be maybe how people have said they're going to be. There's always that hope.
Yeah, I remember ringing the hospital a couple of times and I'd be like, how long do you think he's going to survive on the phone? And they must have thought I was mad, but I just couldn't understand how he was moving and kicking. Made me go crazy. Anyway, one morning, woke up, took my little girl to school, came home, and I started having contractions. And my mum was like, you're in labour. And I was in absolute denial. I was like, no, I'm not. Anyway, husband made me go to the hospital. The doctor came in, who was amazing. And Ashley was there. She was incredible. And then the doctors checked me over and he was like, oh, you're 8 centimetres. It was so weird. Like, it's almost like I completely forgot everything that happened. I was about to have Kit and Minnie. Went into labour, and I remember lying there and I had Kit 1 and 2 little hats on my tummy. Got that picture still got the hats still. Went into, and I always knew I was going to have a C-section because Kit was breech.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I knew that and he never moved. Yeah, so I knew that from like the beginning. And we found out that Kit's survival, he wasn't going to survive long. They weren't 100% sure how long.
Yeah.
And she had to discuss with us what pain relief we wanted him to have.
Right, yeah.
So she sat and spoke to us, and she gave us some options. And then she also explained to Bill that when Kit's born, he'll have no idea what breathing feels like. So to him, however he's breathing is how you breathe. So he won't be distressed or panicking. So that helped Bill. We also made a decision that we didn't want a ventilator because he would never be able to breathe. And if we had that, one, he'd have to be rushed off and I wouldn't have been able to hold him. The massive thing I wanted to hold them both together. It's like all I wanted. And I wanted to say goodbye to him, just holding him like a baby. So we decided not to do that. So they knew that. And I had a really step bereavement midwife, met up with her just before. And I said, when I have a C-section, I want them both to come out. I don't want you to clean him. I just want you to give me him. And that's what they did. And they were they followed everything that I asked. Sadly, Minnie had some breathing difficulties, so she had to be rushed off, but they did hand me them quickly. So that was amazing. And Kit opened his eyes and his mouth. And it was absolutely incredible. And for that moment, I forgot that he wasn't going to survive. And he just looked at me. And then another crazy thing was my mum and dad were there. So my dad at the time, still had cancer. So he was having chemo treatment. So he was in the hospital and the surgeon let them come in. So they met him when he was still alive. And then my sister was at the hospital because she was having a scan for her baby because she was pregnant. So she came in and met Kit when he was still alive as well. So as cruel as it was all so special.
It's those memories that are so important.
Yeah.
They're hard and they're difficult, but I think they do give you some comfort further down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, they all held him and met him and he was just so cute. And he had the most incredible lips, same lips as my husband. Little heart lips. Yeah, so we stayed in there for a while and I've got some hard memories as well. I've got videos on your phone that you can take and when they're live. And if you press and I can hear myself in the background saying, is his heart still beating? Is he still alive? Is he still alive? And I can remember that, which is quite hard. And anyway, eventually they took me through to a room. It wasn't a bereavement room. It was a room right at the top.
It was, it's kind of one of our soundproofed.
I was in there and they just let me hold Kit and then he passed away in my husband's arms. Steph, the bereavement midwife, was doing his heartbeat. Oh, God. It's mad to think that I had a baby and it just passed away in front of us. And at this point, Minnie was in an incubator, in a, a breathing thing. And it sounds awful. I didn't even process that I had another child. So, we had Kit and then this point, like, loads of other family members came and met him. We made a decision for the kids not to meet him. I know everyone's got their own opinions on it. Yeah,
everyone's different.
I don't know, I just don't think it would have been nice for her. I do sometimes regret that, though.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. But then I know at the time we made the decision. Yeah.
And I was going to say, hindsight's always an amazing thing, isn't it? And it's whatever decision you make at the time.
I had Kit with me, and eventually they took me to the bereavement room. And to be quite honest, for the first 2 days, I just pretended he was alive. And when I think about it, I just didn't let go of him, held him in my arms, slept with him. And then I had to go meet Minnie. I was just like, wow. So I remember the first time is I took Kit with me, went into the room, and obviously Minnie was in there. At this point, my husband had been going to meet her.
Yeah.
I remember walking to the room, and I held them together, and then I went back. Yeah, and then I just had him with me.
Did it help to have that private space?
I remember taking Kit out to the garden.
All those first memories.
We ordered a Domino's, which is absolutely mental. But I think you just go in your little own world and you just pretend that he's still there, really, which is silly, really. And then we had this room, which is like my little bubble, and it was like my safety net. I do struggle driving past this hospital.
Do you?
Every time, like, past that room, and I always want to go back there. Like, I crave going back there. Just want to sit on that bed and just, that's a bit weird, but yeah, I do get that. So in the room, and then we had like, quite a lot of things going on in that room, and we moulded his feet and hands, which was really nice. So eventually, I remember one morning my dad rang me, and he was like, "It's time to let him go now, Andrea." And I just didn't want to. I was in this little dream world that I wanted to stay in. And I remember him just saying, "You need to let him go." I didn't want him to go to the morgue. So we live like 2 doors down away from the funeral directors. Yeah. And I wanted him there. And they were incredible. They said they're going to give us this like beautiful little basket. We could put him in there. And I would say this is probably one of the most, it is the most painless thing I've ever done in my life. Like, the pain I've never felt. It was like someone was like taking my heart out. So we had to put him in the basket. And then we dressed him, and we put like some pictures around him. And then they said, just leave him on the bed. So I remember saying goodbye to him on the bed. And then we went to Minnie. And they were right. She gave us a massive amount of comfort. And then I had this guilt, because we are so lucky in a way, because we had Minnie. And I remember just going to see her and just holding her so tight, and just this comfort. She's just so special.
It always amazes me what strength bereaved parents find to be able to do the things that they do.
God, And then we were in the bereavement room for a while, actually, and they were just so nice.
Yeah.
Just so many people just came in and just were so supportive. And when you're in that little bubble, you feel like you've known them forever.
Yeah, it's very intimate, isn't it?
Yeah.
You build up really, really close relationships really, really quickly.
Yeah, and that room, and like there's a couple of, I didn't ever want, so when we still had Kit, I didn't want to leave Kit by himself. So I had one of my best friends, I didn't know who to ask. So I asked my friend to come and sit with him when I went to Minnie. And that room is how they did it. We did it.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. And even like having nurses come and do your checks and stuff in that room, it's just real like special room, I suppose.
It becomes your safe space.
Yeah.
It's your space.
Yeah, it's nice.
And we never, we're always guided by the parents. Never know when the time's right. You know what you need to do.
Yeah.
They just guide
and you never forced me to leave.
No.
It got to a point though where I was a bit like, do you think I should leave?
I know, but I think you might have an inkling, and sometimes you just need that support to make that transition, because it's a journey at the end of the day.
Because then I moved from the bereavement suite, so Minnie was still in hospital, and I didn't want to leave her, and I didn't want to go home because it felt like the end. Like if I went home, that was the end. It was over, and that was it. He's gone. I found that really difficult. They let us take Minnie home, which was really hard because we took Minnie home, and I knew Kit was 3 doors down the road.
How did you cope with, because obviously you had Minnie who was alive and thriving, but yet you'd had Kit that had died. How did you cope? What kind of comments were people saying? Me
and Bill always talk about this. Every time Minnie does something amazing, there's always, and I feel awful saying that, because she never heard that when she was older, but I don't know, she loves the swing, loves the swing. Her face of joy is just ridiculous. And I think, Kit like the swing? She can be really stroppy. I'm like, Kit, it's always like this thing. And sometimes I'm just like, I just want to enjoy her without having that. And it makes me so frustrated. But then I know people are like, well, at least you've got Minnie. Because they're like, you've got Minnie, so what are you moaning about? And it is really difficult.
And this is where every situation is so unique.
Yeah,
And it's so different. You almost can't compare all the different losses.
In a weird, it's nice to talk to twin mums.
Yeah.
Because they, like, I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
Like, so that's,
And also the similarities that they probably do, having two living twins as well in comparison.
Yeah, I find that, like, when I see twins in the street, not that I love it, but I'm just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then another thing, so I'm a photographer, I'm a children photographer as well. So when I first lost Kit, I did think, how am I going to do my job? Photographing babies. But it's so weird because I almost like cherish it more now. It's real weird. I never thought I'd be like that, but I know how important it is to get all those little moments and how special they are.
Well, but it's bound to change you as a person.
Yeah.
You reprioritise, you look at things differently.
Yeah, you really do.
It does change you, it can't not.
It changes you in like such a, absolutely, in a way I can't even explain.
Yeah.
Changes you everything.
Yeah.
And you almost like, I think as well, one thing I remember is coming home and looking out the window and watching the kids go to school. And I just thought, for everybody else, it's just a normal day. The cars are still going past. Kids are still going for school.
Life carries on.
And I'm here and I'm got this pain. I think that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
And like when you're going through it the first couple of weeks, everyone's like amazing, which I get because it's raw. But after that, people just forget. And that's the hardest thing. Like 2 years, it was his second birthday the other week and it still felt like yesterday. Like the pain is just, it's unbearable. And it's something I think you just got to live with for the rest of your life.
And it is exactly that journey. I'll never forget one dad describing it is almost you have a scab and that scab heals over a little bit and that pain doesn't feel quite as raw, but then all of a sudden it'll get knocked off again and you're right back there. And you learn different ways to cope with it and manage it.
Like my partner, when was it, last week? We've had a garden done and the kids are playing in the garden. We've got like this little kids area. And he just burst out crying. And he was like, I'm never going to see Kit play football. And it's just really hard.
Yeah. Because it's all those, I think when a baby dies, it's all those things that you think about for the future. And just I think when you do have another twin that's the same age, you're paralleling it all the time.
I think I live with like a lot of, I don't know if other people do this, but I constantly think like almost like if someone loses a 2-year-old, I constantly compare it in my head.
That's really common.
Is that really common?
Because I think it's a way of thinking of a worst case scenario to enable yourself to be able to cope. Well, it could have been much worse. Imagine if that had happened.
I also think if it wasn't for the fact that I had other children, I honestly don't know what I would have done. The fact that I had to be there for my other children. Like, you have to get up, you have to smile, you can't just lie in bed. You have to, like, carry on. And I just think, without that, I just don't know what I would have done. I can't even imagine.
People find things.
I guess you just do. I always remember, like, crying to my dad. And I was just like, Dad, how am I going to give, like, birth? I was like, how am I going to give birth to a baby, like, and then say, like, bye? And he said, humans are incredible, and you'll do it. And you're so right.
And it's often the anticipation of things that is much worse than when you're actually in it.
Yeah.
Because when you're in it, you're managing it at the time. But when you think about things in advance, and I imagine the things that you've had to do afterwards where you think about it, like thinking about the funeral, thinking about, it's the anticipation. But when you're in it, you're in it.
I remember a few times being like, oh, I'm having a funeral, for example, and they'd be like, oh, they have a funeral? And I'm just like, yes, they are a baby with a breath and eyes, and it's just crazy. But then I suppose if you're not in it, it's like when people said, oh, well, can't you just remove Kit? Keep Minnie, remove Kit. And I'm like, no, you can't do that to twins. Because even now, like, they came home and then we had to plan the funeral, which was also absolutely awful. But the funeral place were incredible. They were so gentle and so, yeah, it was really nice. We had him buried. We decided to do it in our garden. And so we did it in our garden with close family. It was really beautiful, really beautiful. And then me and Bill went in the car with Kit to the graveyard, which was literally just around the corner. And everybody else walked, which was nice. And then we got to the grave and then Bill spoke to him, which was amazing. So I feel weird saying amazing. I don't know, it was such a real experience. And then him and his brother lowered him into the ground.
But it's that dignity and respect, isn't it? It's having those moments that are so important.
Yeah. Another thing I've realised as well is I know some people get massive comfort to go into the grave. I don't. which is another massive guilty thing, I feel, because I know some people put photos up of the grave and really find that safe space going there. But I don't know, every time I go, I have a really bad day after. I went there the other day on his birthday and I took Minnie with me. And that was a really mind-blowing moment because she went over there and she was like putting her hand down and he's got a Liverpool football on there because Bill's obsessed with Liverpool. And she kept trying to steal it and then she had a tantrum because I won't give it her. But yeah, I wish I did get peace from it. I know a lot of people do, but I just find it really difficult.
But I imagine perhaps there's something else you get peace from.
Yeah. So outside my house, I've got a tree, which is Kit's tree. Like, me and Bill love it. Like, it's Kit's tree. I get a massive peace from that. Putting my hand on the funeral wall. Don't know why, but I do. In the garden, we've got a stone garden where all the kids have coloured in and we've wrapped the tree with long different colours. When we first bought the house, in the garden, the kids found a pretend fox and they called it Cooper. It was in the bush. Real weird, stone fox. So they called it Cooper. So when we found out we were pregnant, when me and Bill already had names, you do. So we were like, he's going to be called Kit if it's a boy. And the kids were like, no, Cooper. So we're like, well, I'll tell you what, we'll call him Kit Cooper. So we found out we were having a boy, so he's called Kit Cooper. And that's why, so now we have foxes everywhere.
Do you?
Yeah. So on our doorstep we have a fox. We've got foxes everywhere. And it's lovely because now everyone's like, oh, I saw a fox last night. And then like, I think Mum said like, it was just weird things like the day of the night of the funeral, there was like a fox in the garden. I mean, yeah, all of these things.
That's definitely something that gives comfort.
We've got a fox on his gravestone. We got married last year and my sister, for a surprise, had a fox embroidered onto the veil. Little things like that's really nice.
There's so many things that you've found to almost keep him. And he seems very much part of your family story.
Yeah, he is. I said to my partner the other day, I still find myself doing strange things. So like the other day I could hear the kids playing and I just shut my eyes and pretend that it was Kit and Minnie and what it would sound like. I think it's just a way of coping.
Well, it's also because I think because it's a journey, you're constantly grieving in different ways because there's different elements that come up that maybe you've not thought about.
Yeah.
And then you've almost got to grieve again, and that's why it's so continuous.
Yeah. It's like coming to this hospital. Yeah, it's difficult.
It's dissociation, isn't it?
Yeah, and you just make your brain, you force yourself to forget.
Yeah. Well, it's a way of protecting yourself.
Yeah. I think that's why talking about it, I suppose, is good sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. What kinds of things have you found that have helped you to cope?
So I decided to try and raise some money for the bereavement department because I just thought, I don't know, it just kind of helped me keep his memory alive. I don't want him to be forgotten. So I decided to do this run. It was supposed to be 106k in a day, but a farmer wouldn't let us go across this field, so we had to do 108. And I'm telling you, that extra 2k. So yeah, I did 108k in a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
been
amazing.
It's so nice. And it's reached so many people. I've had like messages of people, like it happening to them. Yeah, that's been really nice. And just hearing their stories. So I raised £11,000 for that. Did the run, lost my toenails. It was so hard, so emotional.
I think it helps though, so that you kind of know you're not alone because it feels a very lonely place.
Yeah.
But when you do things, you do connect. And
Yeah.
so much, and you have to be at the right stage of your journey to do that.
Yeah.
It does help knowing that
1,000,000%, you're not alone.
you're not alone, and whatever we do, sadly, people will experience baby loss.
It's just so hard.
And it's knowing that there's the facilities and everything for those coming after. The aftercare is so important.
Everyone's different. I did try counselling, but I think I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And I do think what I find really hard is, like, I know I'll be miserable and I won't want to do anything. So, and it's like that every time I talk about it or do something. And it's really exhausting because it just brings it all back up. But the aftercare was amazing. We had Steph, she was really good.
And you can't change what's happened, but what you can do is help to create those memories and have those times that help you to cope further down.
Yeah, definitely.
So many different ways.
Yeah.
So many different kinds of loss.
Yeah, so many different kinds of loss.
It doesn't matter whether it's very early on, later on. It's all a continuum.
Because I have some people say to me, I lost a baby at 20 weeks, but I know it's nothing like yours. And I'm like, well, no, because it's still a loss. It's your pain and that should never be taken away. Yeah. I know some people struggle with that, but I feel that a loss is a loss.
Yeah. And I think that's very much how we work as a bereavement service. Yeah. A loss is a loss.
Definitely, yeah.
Because it impacts. You have all those hopes, dreams, everything.
You plan, and like some people buy everything by 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And you have this vision, and then suddenly it's ripped away from you.
Yeah.
So I feel that it doesn't matter what stage you are, it's just...
And then sometimes with the earlier losses, because they have nothing,
They can't even see what it is.
they've got no memories, and that then can be even harder
Yeah.
to cope with.
Because I sometimes sit there and think about his face and his smile and his little nose, and he looks so much like Minnie.
Is that hard?
No, I like that.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, what's hard is she's getting older now, and that's getting bigger, the gap, because she doesn't look like a baby anymore. But at the beginning, I did like it. It was nice.
So what was it about being in the bereavement suite that made it safe?
It felt like, even though loads of other people have been in there, it felt like they hadn't. It was my room.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really weird. Felt like my space. So I had all my stuff in there, and it was like, yeah, I made it mine. There was a telly in there.
It's a double bed, isn't there?
Yeah, that was really nice to be able to lie next to my partner. And when we had Kit with us, that was really nice. The fact there was a garden space.
And I think that's what loads of families, they particularly like the garden space. And they've been able to take their baby outside.
Yeah, so just before we said goodbye to Kit, I took him into the garden.
Yeah.
And Bill took a photo, actually, and I'm there, and the sun's just on us. That was really nice. I think the fact that you don't have to go through the main entrance as well of the hospital. There's so many people, you feel like everyone's staring at you, and they're not having your own private entrance. That's really nice. And just somewhere where you can sit with your family, and it's really quiet there as well. You don't feel like you're in the hospital. Just a really personal, calm, quiet, just a space where you can just grieve. And you haven't got noises and beeping and that hospital noise around you.
And did it help to still have kind of staff around at that time?
Definitely, because I think the first few days I kind of went in and out of this kind of panic. Yeah. Just remembering what's happening. Yeah. And pain, and I think I was doing a lot of walking as well because I had to go and see Minnie. Obviously when you have a C-section you don't do certain things, but I was just not even thinking about it, going to Minnie back. So I did feel like I was in a lot of pain, so that was nice. I think as well, because you have so much going on. I think you have a baby and obviously you have loads of things going on and you do forget about yourself. Yeah. But I feel like, for me anyway, even more so, I forgot about myself. Like I remember when my milk came through and I was just like, oh my life, what's happening? And I was with Kit and my milk came in.
So hard.
And I think if I was at home, I don't know what I would have done. But the fact that I was in this room and I could just press the bell and then a lovely nurse would come in and help me and almost like take over, really.
And I think it becomes a bit of a protective. Yeah. We can kind of protect you before it's like that transition into the outside world.
I remember Nick coming because I thought my scar was infected, and he was like, no, you're okay. Because I think you just go into panic mode, really.
Well, there's an increased level of anxiety because your world has been turned upside down.
And also, so I always think, like, imagine if Bereavement Suite didn't exist and I would have had Kit, they would have sent me home, Minnie would have been in NICU. Like, the thought of, without that Bereavement Suite, I wouldn't have been able to be with Kit and Minnie.
Yeah.
So...
And no end of families will often say, we had no idea that there was something like this here. Because you wouldn't have to think, you wouldn't know, because people don't know.
It's like when people say, well, at the time they were like, oh, you can go into the Bereavement Suite. And I was a bit like, oh, life, what's it going to be like? Like with bleepy noises everywhere. Because that's what hospital is, isn't it? Yeah. I daydream about that room. Well, I've even said to Steph before, like, I want to go back in it, because it was just, I can't even explain it. Such a quiet, like...
And we do have families that do come back at different points further down the line as part of their journey, because it is something they feel they need to do to be able to kind of take the next step in their journey. Yeah. So it is a really common, because they have felt so safe. Because
I was in there with Kit and I was looking out the window and there was a little girl playing in the garden. And I remember just thinking, oh, my life. Like, because at that moment you feel like you're the only one in the world who's just, like, having this loss.
It feels a small world, but there are so many connections out there.
I've still got loads of the stuff now, actually. Little, like, teddy bears. Yeah, so there's all that in there as well.
The storybooks.
It just, like, makes you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah.
No, very, very special rooms. I've always been massively into sport. And then one day my friend rang me and she was like, do you want to do an ultramarathon? And I was like, how far is it? And she said. And I was like, yeah. I said, should we do it for Kit? And she was like, oh my God, that's an amazing idea. So yeah, we just decided to do it for Kit. And I did the run, but like loads of other people chipped in. So my little Minnie, obviously Kit's sister, the nursery did a sponsored walk around the nursery. How many steps? And they raised £150. Like, how incredible is that?
That is.
My auntie did a coffee sale.
Yeah.
She raised money. Another friend's mum sold cakes. She works at the hospital, actually. So she raised money. So yeah, it was amazing. And some of the sponsors, just like mind-blowing. Like incredible. I've had a lot of people say like, what's it going towards? What's it going towards? So I think for me, it's amazing that it's going towards something that helped me so much.
And it's almost the second phase. So we obviously did the first phase to have the 2 bereavement rooms, a private entrance, soundproof the rooms. That was kind of our first phase that we did 5-6 years ago that we raised loads of money for. So we just feel really lucky now to be able to go on to do the next.
Exactly. Like I sometimes think my experience without none of that would have been so different. We had like Steph, who she came to the funeral, she came after him, like kept coming to see Minnie, Honey, spoke to Honey. It was incredible, really. Helped me get counselling. So many things they help you with you don't even think about. I wasn't sleeping, so she helped me with that. Just so many things and just checking in and texting. And sometimes Steph will come round and we'd just be talking about absolute rubbish.
And you're trying to navigate having a baby and grieving at the same time.
Yeah, it is definitely an experience I won't wish upon anyone. But, you do it. And I'm so lucky that I have got the most incredible partner. And I would say this sort of situation obviously either pulls you apart or brings you together, and it definitely brought us together. And my family, I wouldn't have been able to do it without my parents.
The support is so, so important.
Yeah, definitely. I just can't imagine not doing it without everybody around me. Yeah, it's incredible, really.
That's where everybody's different. That's the whole beauty of individualising care and the grieving journey. There's no rights or wrongs. There's no rule book to any of this.
Yeah.
It's just how you feel with what you're presented with. Because you don't ever, ever, ever expect to be in that situation. Ever. The Hold the Moment appeal, the funds from that will go to increasing our bereavement suite footprint, to creating a designated area in which we can care for babies that their parents don't wish to have them with them at that time. It's also an area where we can create memories, do memory making, but it's also a relaxed area in which the midwives can sit with parents when they come back for follow-ups. And also, we've also got the garden area, which Andrea mentioned earlier, and it's also just to refurb that as well and update it as well. Just bring everything all closer together.
So I think having another room would be really nice as well.
Yeah.
Because that room, the room you're sleeping in is like a really personal room, isn't it? But having another room would be really nice.
And that's something that we will be able to do because it's literally just within the same...
Yeah. Because I did all my memory making in that room. And there were some things as well that my husband found really difficult.
Yeah. Baby loss is trying to create that warmth and hope out of such a devastating situation. Be able to find bits to have comfort from.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I don't know how you'd cope.
I don't either. And also I think as well, some people I guess just want to forget it. But I don't think you should forget it.
I think it always comes up in some kind of form.
Yeah, I think if you try and forget it, it will come back and bite you.
Yeah.
But I think you should remember.
Because we sometimes have families that don't want to create any memories. And what we do is we offer them, because we'll say you can store them away, they can be kept somewhere safe, because you never know how you're going to feel 4 or 5 years down the line. And it's about trying not to have those regrets, but they create an impact. Andrea, I'd just like to say thank you so, so much for sharing your story with us. I can see how difficult it's been.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for talking to me. You've been lovely.
Thank you.
Worcestershire Acute Hospitals Charity is proud to be working with the maternity team to launch the Hold the Moment Maternity Appeal. The appeal will enhance maternity services across Worcestershire, including the bereavement suite at Worcestershire Royal Hospital. To find out more about the appeal or to show your support, please visit our website at wahcharity.org or search Worcestershire Acute Hospitals Charity online.